We are counting down to the Cricket World Cup in India that begins in just over 20 days. South Africa enter the tournament under the radar. But this is a side that's reached 4 World Cup semi-finals in 8 editions. So can the Proteas finally get their hands on that elusive piece of silverware? I am joined from Centurion by South Africa's pace spearhead and Red Bull athlete Kagiso Rabada. Kagiso, thank you for your time. Now, we've been speaking to a lot of former cricketers about the World Cup, but this is the first for us. We're going to speak to someone who is actually going to be playing over here in India. So as a player, how is the anticipation building up?
Yes, the anticipation is building up. The World Cup is a huge event, 50 overs. Every team is out to win it, so it's going to be huge competition in a cricket-mad country like India. And it's just going to be a real fascinating well, not little, but fascinating, huge battle against every single team that you come up against.
Okay, last week we had South Africa's team announcement. I mentioned at the start that South Africa going into this tournament a bit under the radar. Is that a good thing in your opinion?
I guess, perhaps, whenever you enter a tournament, you always want to look at the positives. And yeah, at the moment, perhaps people are not really backing us, to win. But I guess it could play in as a benefit for us. But in saying that, all we're looking to do is just to play good cricket and play cricket of cricket that we, drew a blueprint on and how we agreed to play. That's all we're going to try and do. Whether we're coming under the radar, over the radar, we just want to play cricket the way we've set out to play it.
Now, Kagiso, every big event, the wait for South Africa to add to that 1998 Champions Trophy goes on. I'm just going to turn this question around. Why do you think South Africa, your team, can win this World Cup in India?
Because I think we have the players, and we have the players who have experience as well, and players who are starting to really come of age, and players who have already come of age. So we've got a good mixture, and yeah, it's a much more experienced team, and a team full of match winners too.
Yes, just going through that team that you're mentioning, a lot of steel in the batting. There's Quinton de Kock, there's Temba Bavuma, your captain, there's Reza Hendricks, Aiden Markram, and then we all know what Heinrich Klaasen and Miller can do. When this lineup gets going, it looks like a lot of runs. Now, the conditions are expected to be batting friendly over here in India, and there's some serious runs being scored against Australia as well.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, we've got match winners, and it's just about clicking the performances and playing as a team, and performances, coming in at the right time when they're needed. That's what it's about. All the potential is there, and so if we play cricket the way we set out to play it, then I think we have a very good chance.
Okay, along with that announcement came another big news out of South Africa. Quinton de Kock said he's going to be retiring. Now, he's been integral to South Africa's white ball teams. How big a loss will he be going forward? Because he has age on his side, and we would have expected him to play on for South Africa.
Yeah, I think he's called it now, and fair shout to him. He's done incredibly well for South Africa, and it is a huge blow. I mean, he's a great player, one of the best batters in the world, and also probably in history one of the best keeper batters as well. He's proven that, he's shown that over the years. So it's going to be a huge step for someone to come in and fill his shoes. However, in saying that, we do have the talent to come through and to do exactly that.
Okay, now, even as we speak, you're in the middle of a series against Australia. they're a very strong team. For many, they are contenders as well. Now, as players, how do you mentally prepare for a World Cup? Because you're playing Australia. How does that focus shift completely onto the World Cup? Does it happen after the series ends, or you're already in sort of preparatory mode where every match you are looking at various things which you can do when you land in India?
Exactly. I think you want to see where you're at, firstly. And once we land in India, I mean, that's where the tournament's taking place. However, right now, all we're looking to do is compete. But at the same time, through competing, it just gives you an idea where you're at and where we feel like we need to work in terms of our blueprint and also individually as players.
Kagiso, you start your campaign against Sri Lanka in Delhi. Now, that's a place you know very well from your IPL stints. Do you think the IPL has sort of erased India's home condition advantage?
Well, not entirely, because they still have the fans. But in terms of conditions, I think that players have become more and more accustomed to playing in Indian conditions because of the IPL. And we tend to play in various grounds as well. And I think, yeah, definitely it does help, level the playing field in that regard. However, I think India also have the edge as well because they're playing at home in front of their home fans.
Since I brought up that Delhi stint, you had a great partnership with Andrik Nokia at the Delhi Capitals. Both of you are going to be expected to shoulder the workload in India. And as we saw last week, both of you can crank up that volume as well. Do you think extreme pace will be a huge plus for South Africa? Because there aren't too many teams where the bowlers are hitting 150 and above.
Yeah, pace is definitely a strength of ours. And it's something that we would like to utilize and that we have been utilizing over the years to our advantage. And it's always been that sort of culture in South African history as well when it comes to pace. And it's glad to see that it's awesome to see that there are bowlers in our team who can hit that 150 mark, and bowlers as well who can be consistently in the 140s and bowling good pace. I think it's always been a strength of ours, and we look to utilize it to the best of our ability.
Yes, but bowling 150 in October in India is going to be hard work. It's still going to be hot and humid in places. So how do you plan on staying hydrated and fresh throughout that 50-over stint?
I mean, you have to be fresh, I guess, by preserving your body, doing all the cliche sayings, recovery, and also, I guess, getting in the gym and staying nice and fit. But I guess acclimatizing to those conditions is going to be key. I think that's the most key part. But otherwise, just doing the basics really well in terms of your recovery and and your endurance and stamina.
And perhaps a lot of Red Bulls as well. Now, Kagiso, I'm not going to ask you to share your plans, but in those Indian conditions I asked you about, how do you keep the batter quiet when you have the new ball in your hands? Because batting-friendly conditions, if the opposition is off to a flyer, then it's sort of their advantage. So how are those plans shaping up?
I mean, I guess it's just about looking to take wickets, really. There's various ways that you can take wickets through analysis, but also just having an instinct, your own individual instinct. And that's what makes cricket such a nuanced sport. I think you have to follow your instinct, and literally in the moment, anything can happen, but just about taking wickets.
Okay, and since you're talking about taking wickets, the batters get spoken about a lot. Ben Stokes got a big 100 the other day against New Zealand. But who do you think are the bowlers who are going to make an impact during this upcoming World Cup?
I think, in the World Cup, because it's such a big occasion. I'm not going to go with any particular bowlers. I think it's all bowlers at international level of quality, and I think that most bowlers will have that adrenaline and urge to do well.
There's a fair bit of ODI cricket going on around the world. Are you, even though you're playing Australia, are you managing to keep an eye on what the competition is doing? There's a big Asia Cup on right now. Pakistan bowlers doing very well. Jasprit Bumrah's come back and he's been swinging the ball as well, both ways.
I haven't been able to watch too much of other cricket because we've been playing. And I don't like to really watch too much cricket in my off time. If anything, you'll just hear about it, but not too much watching, no.
Yes, just focus on the job at hand. But, you know, Kagiso, we saw with England last time and also with Australia in 2015 and across all World Cups. A World Cup is not won by individuals. It's won by a team. Now, who, according to you, are the teams you think will pose the biggest challenge to South Africa winning a maiden World Cup?
Look, like I said, you can't take any game for granted in a World Cup or in international cricket. But you know, you'd have to say the defending champions, England and India, Australia, you know, New Zealand. You can't count anyone out. I guess having a look at England and their team and what they've done over the years, I think they're a strong side. However, I think that you can't take any team for granted.
Okay, I'm just going to ask you to sort of look into your repertoire of skills. And as a top quality bowler, when you prepare for the World Cup, you said that, you know, it's already, the plans are in motion. Who do you think are the batters you will be forced to dig deep during this World Cup against? And if you could tell us why bowling to them is tough.
Every batter. I'm not going to pick a batter, sorry.
I'm trying to push you on that.
I can't.
Ah, of course. You're not going to reveal, no secrets to be revealed right now. We'll wait for the 7th of October, isn't it?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, final question to you, Kagiso. A lot has been said about South Africa's inability to win a T20 or ODI World Cup so far. Now, as players, does that bite hard? Or does it even make you even more determined?
It makes you more determined, yes. And it's all about, you know, when you get that first one, then I think it's going to start happening more naturally. It's all about belief, and I think you need a lot of luck on your side, as well as, you know, hard work and doing the basics really well. But I think that you need a bit of fortune. But we out there to do our best. We are determined. I am determined. It does make me more determined, and can't wait to get out there.
Yes, it's been sort of an albatross around South African teams for a while. But hopefully you and your team that's heading over to India find those answers. Kagiso Rabada, looking forward to seeing you in action in India next month. Have a good and healthy build-up till then.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.